O HSM+, é o maior evento de gestão e inovação da América Latina e o segundo maior do mundo. O fato do Shihan Keizawa ter aceitado o convite, né, de poder compartilhar a sua experiência por mais de 20 anos à frente da Opel, da General Motors, na Alemanha, na Europa, fazendo grandes negociações, representando o governo japonês com negociações com o governo americano. Isso, com o Aikido, com mais de 55 anos de prática do Aikido por trás disso, né, o credencia para poder estar nesse palco, no palco onde tivemos aí Han Charan, Michael Phelps, Peter Drucker, os maiores pensadores, as maiores personalidades, os maiores esportistas, as maiores referências de gestão e inovação para compartilhar com as principais lideranças do Brasil o que há de melhor e de mais inovador. Então acho que poder trazer alguém que tenha condição de estar nesse palco e fazer esse link, esse match entre o Aikido e a gestão, entre o Aikido e a saúde mental e as preocupações cada vez mais na cabeça, nas pessoas, nas empresas, é o que realmente nos motivou a trazê-lo para cá e ter essa grande honra.
I would like to bring Aikido in the perspective of business, and I would like to share with you. Aikido is one of the sports organizations. It is a martial art, but has been incorporated as part of the Olympic family. Aikido forms one of the 100 plus members of international sports organizations, including entities like FIFA, International Basketball Association, hockey, and this and that. So Aikido is represented and is very highly positioned in the world. But as I saw, only very few people have raised their hands. Aikido is a member of Sport Accord, and we participate in combat games, world games, and many events. Brazil also had representatives from the past. But the reason it is not known very much, it is because Aikido doesn't have national competition, is highlighting more the inner self-growth of the people. Aikido is one of the martial arts, constitute the 15 Budo martial arts and combat sports in combat games. And the only difference with the rest of the martial arts or combat sports is that Aikido doesn't have competition. And we will enter into that. Why does Aikido that doesn't have competition is a nice match for the business? So, mente Aikido and mente de negocios. It's Aikido is known to have participation of enormous amount of professional people in the ranks. Here today with us, we have a spectacular example of a successful Aikidoka in business. And not only Bueno Sensei, but you can look around, and if you find many Aikido people, many of them in professions like medicine, architecture, lawyers, and engineers are people that pursue Aikido. And well, we will enter into gradually what are the benefits of Aikido to business, because in my personal experience, when I worked for General Motors, when I was in Detroit, I was involved in major mega deals, joint ventures between General Motors and Toyota Motor Company, and I went to work for a joint venture between GM and Isuzu Motor Company in England. So over the years, my job, I also became the regional sales director for General Motors in Europe, overseeing 17 countries. And my position has always been how to apply the spirit of Aikido. In the negotiations, it was somewhat, it wasn't a clash, but GM and Toyota Motor, GM and Suzuki, in discussing joint ventures, they had to discuss very crucial elements of operation to form a joint venture, because a joint venture is somewhat like a marriage, a limited time perhaps, but it is important that both sides agree to move forward. In one example, GM presented the Articles of Incorporation and the Memorandum of Understanding to Toyota Motor Company, and they had the GM lawyer put together, I don't remember exactly, but more than 10 pages of forms of resolution in case the two sides didn't agree. And the Japanese negotiating team didn't even have a lawyer in the team. And Mr. Higashi Kan, at that time, from Toyota Motor Company, asked the question, is your company, General Motors, run by lawyers? And he said, how can the lawyers anticipate every possible way of conflict resolution? And the GM side at that time later became the chairman of the board of GM, asked the question, then how would you like to proceed? And Mr. Higashi from Toyota Motor Company responded, it's by discussing. And we try to resolve as a marriage. So you cannot do the discussions put in contractual terms for every detail that is possible. So let me go and show you a chart that defines about Aikido. In normal circumstances, many of the martial arts or combat sports is you have two forces coming against each other and you try to resolve the issue. The second one is not necessarily a martial art, but if the energy comes, you escape. So that's a human reaction to that. And the third one would be that you are so afraid that you freeze on the spot. Today you will be able to see some elements of Aikido that try to incorporate and join forces with the energy that comes against you. If you see that the people are throwing, you may say it's not mutually beneficial, but in Aikido, normally we take turns to throw and be thrown. So gradually the energy becomes that both sides grow. Now, what constitutes Aikido as the principle, a philosophy of that? It's the word called Masakatsu Agatsu. Masakatsu Agatsu means true victory is self-victory. So Masakatsu Agatsu doesn't mean that if I achieve my self-victory, I'm happy. You cannot achieve self-victory if you are the only one winning. So in Aikido, we try to take an approach of win-win solution with a partner. This is something that I found, I think it was in Fortune magazine about 40 years ago, of the qualities that you would like to see in your boss. And the first one is makes people want to do things. The second one is your boss is a good listener. The third one plays up the positive, constantly building up on the self-esteem of the subordinates. Let's go. Fourth, sets a good example, gives effective work assignments, fitting jobs to the abilities of the people to do them. And I find this HSM Plus, they have done a wonderful job in bringing so many people together to do a fantastic gathering. The boss should be receptive to new ideas and supports worthy changes, admits a goof, helps people grow and fights for them when it's necessary, never belittles a subordinate, regardless of temptation, never plays favorites, gives people undivided attention when they come to talk, avoids domination of subordinates, knowing this can only breed a crew of yes people, and communicates, is brief but thorough, gets the message across, follows up and follows through on new ideas, anticipates change, understands, welcome and cooperates with innovation, pinpoints priorities, is flexible when flexibility is required, asks questions when in doubt, looks beyond his or her company and is responsible, concerned citizen. This is something that came up, as I mentioned, 40 years ago. This is a crucial new development that is passing, and the fact that HSM as well as ANIMA is taking education as an important tool to help the society grow, I think enters into that fact, is decisive, willing to assume responsibility for assessing the facts in any situation, never appears preoccupied with personal solitude, concentrates on the cardinal responsibilities. And as Professor Scott Galloway mentioned yesterday, he has a sense of humor. But this is a relationship of one staff looking at his boss. Now, we need to take a look at, understand that the company cannot be run only by your feelings towards your boss or whether you are satisfied or not. The company is beginning to have more and more business stakeholders and also external. You have customers, suppliers, vendors, creditors, government, regulatory bodies, local community, even competition. And for the special interest groups and other potential stakeholders like the media, social media, and now I think we have to take into account so many different elements to that. Aikido has three major steps, one called Tenkan, the second called Irimi, and the third one called Tenshin, which is a step back. In Aikido, we have a few exceptional blocking techniques, but normally is to avoid. If he comes to try and grab my shoulder, I redirect his energy. Absorbing the energy, and later we will do redirecting the energy to do that. as you may say, that looks a little bit aggressive, but in Aikido, we go through the training with a partner at different levels so that they gradually learn how to roll, how to fall, and gradually that's the way that we learn to be safe when practicing Aikido. So if you grab someone in the street to do some of the techniques, people will land and they may strike their head, and it could be very dangerous. The human body has, I love to say this, has 206 bones plus, has 350 joints, articulaciones, and has over 650 skeletal muscles in plus. So when we do Aikido, we don't try to use just the arm or punch. We don't train to make the fist capable of destroying hard things. We try to use the whole body, which is why some people may call this moving yoga. It's very healthy because you don't need to have a body like Hercules to do Aikido. Aikido is more the fluidity that we seek. My business mantra or my dojo mantra, dojo means the school where I teach Aikido or where many of the senseis here teach Aikido. In my case, I put your personal health as number one. The second is concern for your family. The third is work. And the fourth is Aikido. And because you do Aikido, you improve your health. And because you have healthy mental and physical condition, you can take care of your family. And because you can take your family and you're stable, it becomes easier to contribute to the company in your work. And you continue with the positive cycle of Aikido. That would be a way to do. So, we will enter into a little bit of the mythology. And here we have Wagner Bull Shihan, who is very well informed about these concepts. But the founder of Aikido had a belief, he had a strong belief that there was one spirit, three elements, and there were four souls. At the bottom of the pyramid, there were 8 powers, Hachiriki. Ichire, Sangen, Shikon, Hachiriki. This is how it was created. I have to explain that Aikido is not religious per se, but I'm trying to highlight the concept behind the founder of Aikido, Ueshiba Morihei, that talks about the soul of Aramitama. You can have on one extreme bravery, and the other extreme becomes brutality or cruelty. Nigimitama is you have harmony, tenderness, and you have the other extreme, you have hostility, malevolence. And in Kusumitama, you have intelligence, and the other side, intelligence, but somewhat Machiavellic, and it becomes betrayal and treachery. And the next one is Sachimitama, that talks about love, affection, but if it goes to the other extreme, it becomes obsession. So, the virtue of moderation is something that Aikido promotes. And through the training of empathy, understanding, and helping your fellow partners, whether it's inside the company or the stakeholders outside. This is how you can generate greater growth in the society. And that is what Aikido tries to promote. Most people, if they are grabbed like this, they want to pull or they want to push, nothing happens, right? So if you're wise, you relax and you center the movement. And you can create a relatively powerful rotation using your 650 muscles. Imagine a cheetah running after the prey. The cheetah doesn't run only with the legs, runs with the whole body. So this is Tenshin. Tenshin is stepping back, absorbing the energy, and throwing again. And the last one is a step called Nenten. Nenten is when you rotate in the same way. And I drop her, and I rotate. I am here, I do Nenten, drop her arm, I do another Nenten, and happens like that. Aikido started as a pure martial art. When the founder created Aikido, it was very limited who could join the Aikido world. The founder of Aikido required that people come already mentally and physically prepared. And that's why many of the early sponsors of Aikido, which had no marketing tools or anything, were the Japanese Navy and Army officers. But after the war, Aikido opened the doors to all citizens that could come and train. I would like to show example of you can hold example of someone striking me with a jaw. Jaw is this staff called jaw. The famous Japanese samurai named Miyamoto Musashi won 62 duels with his sword, but he lost one against someone with jaw. So if I try to throw him, I get resistance, right? So if I try to move closer to him, I'm going against two hands. But if I open this side, he has less control. Then why do Aikido? And what's the connection with business? It's nice to be able to master some self-defense, right? It's great to be able to improve in physical fitness, but now it becomes very important. Doing Aikido and being thrown and throwing again, sometimes with older people, sometimes with physically weaker people, gives you the empathy, it's emotional resilience. And in dealing with the team, with the dojo members, you can improve in mental growth. You have personal development in doing so, and improve in harmony and interpersonal skills. You have seen the various stakeholders. You have to deal with many of them. But spiritual and philosophical growth is another thing that takes place. Now, finally, unlike many of the other sports, Aikido allows to have you a lifelong journey. I started when I was 19 and I'm 75, so I managed to do this while I worked, and I became successful, not as successful as Bueno Sensei, but successful in my own way. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentation, and thank you very much for your attention.